Alright, good day viewers. Today we'll continue our biology revision series. Welcome to my channel. I remain Dr. Shakes. Our first question says, the name of this biological cycle is. The name of this biological cycle is, it's a rather simple one. You have carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, hydrological cycle, photochemical cycle. Of course, this is the hydrological cycle or water cycle, as you may call it. So this is the hydrological cycle. Where is precipitation occurring? Where is precipitation occurring? Is it from D to A? Is it from C to D? Is it from B to C? Or is it from A to B? Of course, this is easy. This is precipitation rainfall. This is from A to B. Alright, I've answered this already. The answer is from A to B. What type of relationship is illustrated here? Parasitism, commensalism, predation, mutualism. What type of relationship is illustrated here? Of course, the answer is mutualism. You know, in mutualism, both organisms benefit from the association. Here, the bee benefits the nectar from the plant, while the plant is pollinated by the bee. So both of them share a mutual relationship. What pattern of evolution is observed between both species? What pattern of evolution is observed between both species? Convergent, divergent, coevolution, hybrid evolution. Of course, our answer is coevolution. The changes, evolutionary changes in one causes corresponding evolutionary changes in the other. So it's coevolution. Yeast reproduce asexually by budding. So yeast reproduce asexually by budding. What is the phenotypic ratio of a cross between a heterozygous dominant parent and a double recessive parent? What is the phenotypic ratio of a cross between a heterozygous dominant parent and a double recessive parent? So, what's the phenotypic ratio of a cross between heterozygous dominant parent and double recessive parent? Now, this is the heterozygous dominant parent. It is the gamete we use for the heterozygous dominant, and the small t we use for the double recessive parent. Now, when you do the Punnett square, you will get 2:2. You have 2 heterozygous and 2 double recessive. So at the end of the day, our ratio is 1:1. An albino man marries a normal woman who is homozygous for skin pigmentation. What is the probability that the couple would have an albino child? An albino man marries a normal woman homozygous for skin pigmentation. What is the probability that the couple would have an albino child? Of course, now the small a, we use it to represent the albino man. Remember, is an autosomal recessive trait. So we have a small a, and since the normal woman is homozygous for skin pigmentation, we have big A to represent the normal gametes. So when you do your cross, you have 4 offsprings. Now, all of them are phenotypically normal. They are not albinos, since albinism is double recessive. So all of them are phenotypically normal, although they are carriers of the albino trait, so the probability is 0, because you must inherit both of the albino gene for you to become an albino. Tetanus, typhoid, and tuberculosis are caused by what? Tetanus, typhoid, and tuberculosis are caused by what pathogen? So tetanus, typhoid, and tuberculosis are caused by bacteria. They are caused by bacteria. Clostridium tetani, Salmonella typhi, and Mycobacterium tuberculosis, respectively. If two yellow flowered plants which carry recessive factor for flowers with green colors were crossed, what will be the percentage of flowers with the green phenotype in the F1 generation? If two yellow flowered plants which carry recessive factor for flowers with green colors were crossed, what will be the percentage of flowers with the green phenotype in the F1 generation? Okay. Now you have the two of them. Phenotypically they are yellow, however they have the green, the gene for green colors. Now you can see the big Y and the small y for the male gamete, big Y and the small y for the female gamete. When you use your Punnett square, you have yellow, yellow, yellow. Then you have one of them which is green, because the green is a recessive trait. So you have to inherit the two for you to have any chance of it manifesting. So you have just 1/4, which is 25% of the green colors in the F1 generation. Which of the following is not a unit for the instrument used in measuring temperature? Which of the following is not a unit for the instrument used in measuring temperature? Of course, Newton. So the temperatures scales, you have Kelvin, you have Fahrenheit, you have Celsius. So you have the Fahrenheit scale, you have the Kelvin, and you have the Celsius scale, not Newton. Which of the following disease does not affect the organ illustrated? Now this organ is kidney. So which of the following diseases does not affect the kidney? Answer is cirrhosis, which affects liver, not kidney. So diuresis, nephritis, and kidney stones, they all affect the kidneys. Hemophilia is recessive and sex-linked. The probability of a carrier mother and a normal father having hemophilic male is. Hemophilia is recessive and sex-linked. The probability of a carrier mother and a normal father having hemophilic male is. The answer is 1/4. Now you see the XY for the male gamete and the XX for the female gamete. Since she's a carrier, she has one of the X chromosomes containing the hemophilic trait. However, for it to manifest, it has to be in both. So since she's a carrier, the only way we have a hemophilic male is 1/4 if that male inherits the X chromosome that contains the hemophilic gene. So it's a sex-linked trait, don't forget. So the answer is 1/4. Cretinism is a disease caused by what? Cretinism is a disease caused by what? Now this topic is under endocrine system, and of course under secretion of or under production of thyroxine causes cretinism. Sure, the following is not a secondary sexual characteristic of females. Sure, the following is not a secondary sexual characteristic of females: menstruation, pubic hair, deepening of voice, enlargement of breast. Now the answer is deepening of voice. That's a secondary sexual characteristic of males, not females. So the following about abiotic factors determines the depth to which light penetrates the water body. The depth to which light penetrates water body. So turbidity is our answer. Turbidity. The sheet which covers the radicle of seed is called coleorhiza. So the coleorhiza covers the radicle and the coleoptile covers the plumule. Coleorhiza covers the radicle, coleoptile covers the plumule. So the following is not part of the gynoecium of flowers. So the following is not part of the gynoecium. Answer is filament. Filament is part of the androecium. That's the male part of flowers. Gynoecium, the female part of flowers. So filament is part of the androecium. The following are characteristics of wind dispersed fruits and seeds except presence of. Following are characteristics of wind dispersed fruits and seeds except presence of. So our answer is sticky juice. 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 Discontinuous variation include all of the following except. Discontinuous variation include all of the following except. Discontinuous variation include all of the following except body height. Discontinuous variation include all of the following except body height. Blood groups, tongue rolling, fingerprints, they are all discontinuous variation. Body height is a continuous morphological variation. How many chromosomes are found in the human sperm cell? How many chromosomes are found in the human sperm cell? 23. Remember, gametes have a haploid number of chromosomes. The zygote has diploid number of chromosomes. So for gametes, which the sperm cell is 23. Purines include, we've done this earlier in our series. So the purines include adenine and guanine, while cytosine and thymines are pyrimidines. So adenine and guanine are purines. The exchange of genes between homologous chromosomes. The exchange of genes between homologous chromosomes is called crossing over. So crossing over is the exchange of genes between homologous chromosomes. Testers of PTC find it to be bitter, of course. Now, for non-tasters, it does not have any taste, but those that taste it, it has have the gene for tasting PTC. It's bitter in their tongue. The following are chemical barriers which prevent pathogens from penetrating an organism's body except. The following are chemical barriers which prevent pathogens from penetrating an organism's body except the epidermis. Epidermis is a physical barrier. Epidermis is a layer of the skin, which of course is a physical barrier. Mucus, wax, and sebum, they are all chemical barriers. The following are true for asexual reproduction except. The following are true for asexual reproduction except. Two parents are involved. Following are true except two parents are involved. Two parents are not involved. A single parent is involved in asexual reproduction. Which of the following can be used to show that plant roots respond positively to gravity? Which of the following is used to show that plant roots respond positively to gravity? Clinostat, potometer, circuit disc, thermostat. Alright, so a clinostat is used to measure geotropism. It's used to check that plant roots respond positively to gravity and shoot negatively to gravity. So geotropism generally, you use a clinostat to study geotropism. Which of the following enzymes does not act on proteins? Which of the following enzymes does not act on proteins? Ptyalin. Ptyalin acts on starch. and converts it to maltose. But pepsin, erepsin, trypsin, they all act on protease and ensure that at the end of digestion it has been converted to amino acids. So the answer is ptyalin. The 5 kingdom classification was proposed by, who proposed the 5 kingdom classification? Whittaker. So Whittaker was the one that, Bert Whittaker was the one that proposed the 5 kingdom classification. Pseudopodia are organs of locomotion possessed by organisms that are part of kingdom Pseudopodia. So kingdom Protista. Remember, amoeba is a typical example. Amoeba has pseudopodia and is a member of the Protista kingdom. The term fauna describes what? The term fauna describes what? It describes the total number of animal species in an area. So fauna describes the total number of animal species in an area. A woman with blood group B gives birth to a child with blood group O. Which of the following blood groups cannot belong to the father? A woman with blood group B gives birth to a child with blood group O. Which of the following blood groups cannot belong to the father? The answer is blood group AB. Reason being that if the father has AB, he cannot give birth to a child with blood group O, because blood group O is a double recessive blood group. So the child has to inherit the blood group O, one chromosome from the father, one from the mother, for it to express itself. So if it's A, it could be AO, it is B, it could be BO. So AB cannot get married to any other blood group and produce blood group O. A man who suffers from hemophilia marries a woman who is a carrier. What percentage of their children are likely to have hemophilia? We solved something similarly earlier on hemophilia. It's a very, very simple calculation. Now, of course, this is the gametes, the male gamete from someone who has hemophilia, and this is the gamete, the female gamete for a carrier. So by the time you use your Punnett square to check, you will notice that there's one female offspring with hemophilia, one male offspring with hemophilia, making a total of 2/4, which is 50%. Territoriality is observed in remember, territoriality is a reproductive behavior, so it is observed in lizards. Lizards show territoriality. Which of the following is not a reproductive behavior in animals? Which of the following is not a reproductive behavior in animals? Mimicry. Mimicry is not a reproductive behavior in animals. For reproductive behavior, I've always taught you to use PTSD, pairing, territoriality, seasonal migration, display. So mimicry is not a reproductive behavior. The mouth parts of grasshopper are adapted for. The mouth parts of grasshopper are adapted for. And the answer is biting and chewing mouth part. So the grasshopper has biting and chewing mouth part. Flatworms are classified as platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. That's your flatworms. Which of the following has the most complex level of organization? Which of the following has the most complex level of organization? And the answer is heart. The heart is an organ. The heart is an organ and has the highest among the ones that are given here. In fungi, a network of hyphae is called mycelium. So a mycelium is a network of hyphae. The mechanism of the opening and closing of the stomata in plants is based on, it's a simple question, is turgidity and flaccidity. Turgidity and flaccidity. Turgidity and flaccidity. Autotrophs are also called producers. Remember, autotrophs are responsible for the manufacture of food, so they are producers. Structure is that of, structure is that of neuron, that is the nerve cell. So the structure is that of the nerve cell. What is the function of the part labeled A? This is the part labeled A here. What is the function of the part labeled A? The part labeled A is the dendrons. And what is the function of the dendrites? They transmit impulses towards the cell body. Cell body is the part labeled B. So the dendrons transmit impulses towards the cell body. The axons transmit impulses. The axon transmit impulse away the cell body. The part labeled E is of Ranvier, nodes of Ranvier. D is the myelin sheath. So nodes of Ranvier is the part labeled E. The soma is the part, I just answered this. The soma is the part, that's the soma or the cell body, is the part labeled B. Is the part labeled B. Condition reflexes was first described by, this is the nervous system. So condition reflex was first described by Ivan Pavlov. So condition reflexes was first described by Ivan Pavlov, a Russian scientist. This base sequence can be found in what? This base sequence can be found in what? Can be found in DNA. How do we know this can be found in DNA? First is double helix, and of course we can see thymine here. DNA has thymine, RNA does not. RNA has uracil. So this can be found in DNA. What's the missing basis? We've done something similar earlier. So guanine will pair with cytosine, like we said. Adenine will pair with thymine. Cytosine with guanine. Thymine with adenine. Adenine with thymine. So our answer is C. You can see cytosine and guanine, adenine and thymine, cytosine and guanine, thymine and adenine, adenine and thymine, like that. Which of the following hormone is indole acetic acid? Which of the following hormones is indole acetic acid? Indole acetic acid. Indole acetic acid, auxin. Indole acetic acid is auxin. The process illustrated is the process of. The process illustrated by the diagram is the process of DNA replication. The process of DNA replication. And of course, the enzyme which is responsible for DNA replication is called DNA polymerase. It's called DNA polymerase. Alright guys, thank you for watching the videos. Try like and subscribe. We'll continue our series in the next video. Thank you.